Welcome to another episode of Past the Six Podcast. I'm your host, Jay Brown. Joining me as always is Tsunamic Wave. What's going on, my brother?
Ain't nothing, man. I can't complain. How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. No complaints. A lot of stuff to talk about. So,
yes, sir.
With that said, you ready?
Yes, sir. Let's get it.
No doubt. If you guys don't know, the show is split into 5 parts. We start out with what games we're currently playing. Then from there, we're going to This Week in Gaming, where we briefly look back on games that dropped throughout this week in history. Then from there, we'll get into some industry news. Then we'll each have a topic. And then we'll end with one gotta go game versus. This week is my week, so I got that all queued up and ready to go. So with that said, what games you been currently playing, bro?
All right, man. So I've been playing a ton of Apex, trying to get my rank up in the new split on Olympus. You know what I mean? Doing a lot of that. Played a little MLB, the show, getting in preparation for the 22 that's coming out to Game Pass as well.
Right.
I actually just finished a game of Madden, so Madden is also on Game Pass now for installment. If you want to go ahead and get that, it's through the EA Pass, so you can't just play it. You got to install it, but it's still free. So go ahead and if you haven't played Madden, go ahead and get a game in or two. I just did that, and I actually won barely. Won by 3. Got out of there with a last minute touchdown, thanks to Tom Brady. Outside of that, man, I actually tried that. What's the game on Game Pass with the little kids in the zombie apocalypse? I forget what it's called. Man. I've been playing that too. I literally just was playing it. I forget the name.
I know what you're talking about.
But it's a really cool game that just arrived on Game Pass as well. Yep. I forget what it's called, but it's 4 little kids on the cover.
Yep.
And they trying to survive a zombie apocalypse. Is pretty cool. So go ahead and check that out. But those are the games off the top of my head that I can remember playing through my cloudy birthday week.
No doubt, yo. Which is crazy to think that Tsunamic Wave playing Madden, right? And then I know it just dropped in the Game Pass, but just crazy to think about because it's been a while, right?
Yeah, that was my first time playing 22 this year.
Yeah, so for me, today I played Halo because they reset the rank. So if you haven't played Halo in a while and you had a high rank, I'm sorry.
Oh wait, yeah. What did they reset it to? Because I haven't even checked that out. So I gotta do that.
Remember when you first started? You got to play the 10 matches.
Placement?
Literally.
No way.
Literally reset it.
No way. You know what? That's cool though. That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. So I think I played 3 matches. So I think I got 7 left until until they give you your first rank or whatever. So I mean, again, now I will say they say they just worked on the pacing of the game. It feels a little different. I can't put my finger on it yet. Like I said, I only played 3 games, but it feels slightly off in terms of just feels a little bit faster than it used to. So it's just taking some getting used to. And it's not just me. I was looking up online and everybody seemed to be saying the same thing with that. So that was cool. I played the MLB 22, the show tech test. As you guys know, as you guys know, the game comes out April 5th. And so far, I will say the graphics, I don't know what they did, but it plays a lot smoother. You know what I mean? The graphics look smoother. The gameplay is a lot smoother. The camera angles and stuff that they use is a little better. So I can't wait to see what else they did. Again, it was very limited, even more than last year. Last year's tech test was, you had Exhibition, you had Diamond Dynasty, you had Road to the Show, I believe. No, you had March to October. This year is just straight up Diamond Dynasty or co-op, which is a new feature. Wow, I forgot to even leave it that. You could play online co-op. Online co-op.
Oh, yeah?
Up to 4 players.
How you gonna do? Oh, wow.
So, yeah. So, which is kind of dope. It I don't know, it was just weird because it wasn't even advertised, you know what I mean? I just happened to see it. I'm like, what the hell is co-op? But then you play it, and then I'm like, oh, this could be cool. I mean, it could make for a fun experience. I'm sure it could be frustrating as well, but
hey, that seemed to be leading up to what I was saying about how they should have a My Player. Well, they already have that, but you know how 2K you could go into the park and play with your homies. And they should do that. Or literally 9 people in the game. That's like 10 people on. Well, it'd be 18 people, but they can make it work.
Yeah. So I played
That'd
that.
be dope.
I played a very little bit of Rock Band. That's only because I had a guest over at the crib. We was playing some Rock Band. And that's about it. This week was more of a slower week in terms of video games. I didn't get to know it near as much as I wanted to. Like I wanted to get into damn, what's the name of the game? Like literally the same game you're talking about.
Yeah, I don't want to make noise with my Xbox turning it on to figure it out.
Because I started it,
man. I think I'm gonna go ahead and do that because I don't want to hold the people in suspense on what we talking about. Because it is a dope game and it's free to check out. So like, why not check it out? Just give me a second for it to load up here. But yo, going back to the Halo ranking system, man. I just want to say like that. It's. I was saying it's cool. It sounds cool because the ranking system really didn't have a ranking system. It was just anybody could play with anybody. Like it was Silvers playing with Diamonds and Onyx and all kind of. You could just play with anybody depending on whoever you get on the game with. Really. So if it's still like that, I'm gonna be pretty mad that they put me all the way down in placement. But if they have some like actual structure to it, like kind of like Apex does, where if you at a certain rank, you can't play with people at a certain rank below you or above you, just to keep it fair. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But the game is called The Last Kids on Earth. And the Staff of Doom.
Yes. So I played that.
That's pretty dope.
I started that game. I thought it was dope. I didn't get that was the game I wanted to get into more, but I guess that's what this week is for, right?
Yeah, we could co-op that too.
Yeah, I know.
It's up to 4 players.
And we still got to play It Takes Two as well, because that game is dope. So,
okay, definitely.
Yo, with that said, let's go on to This Week in Gaming, where we briefly look back on games that dropped throughout this week in history. And this week is crazy because, one, if you guys don't know, we're coming up on the 1-year anniversary of Past the Six podcast. Which is even just crazy to even think about. Like,
bro, it's been a year already. I feel like we just started. And it's not a lot of time to get good at your craft when you know what I'm saying? Not a lot of time. You got to really put work in.
And the only reason why I know it's been a year is because when we first is right after I got Tsunamic Wave on board to do the podcast, I started the Instagram. And I started posting like on this day in gaming, which is where this segment comes from. The This Week in Gaming. Yeah. So as I'm looking at the games for this year, these are the initial games that I put on the Instagram before the podcast even launched. So with that said,
full circle.
Right. So with that said, although this is the first time it's going to be on This Week in Gaming history, but NBA Jam Tournament Edition. Man, what to even say about this game? Like, this game dropped 27 years ago. It's obviously a classic. Like, nobody can't tell me it's not a classic. It's probably top 2 or 3 most fun I've ever had with a basketball game. And I know it's more of like a wacky type of basketball game, but it's still a basketball game. And if you haven't played it, if you're younger or whatever, just haven't played it, you know of it, because if you know the terms boom shakalaka and he's on fire, like that's where this comes from. You know what I mean? And like they even say it now in NBA games and stuff like that. But I can go on with this game for days. Obviously, we got to find a way to do a deep dive on this. NBA Jam Tournament Edition, bro. Talk to me.
Man, this is probably one of my favorite Super Nintendo games.
Yes, sir.
When it first came out, I wasn't even allowed to play this joint. I used to just watch with the sad puppy eyes because I was too young to, play the game. You know what I'm saying? And I was too smart to fall for the fake controller trick. So it was just like, nah, you ain't playing. You know what I'm saying? So when I actually did get to play. I had tons of fun with this game. The only thing I really didn't like about this game is the pushing. And it ain't really like it was the CPU pushing that I ain't really like. To put it just plainly. You feel me? Because when you get to a certain point in like the arcade mode of the game, they push you like OD. Like you can't even go up the court. They just pushing you. They sitting by the baseline, pushing you down. Right. Outside of that, the game is pretty smooth. I like the he's on fire. The net actually burning down. You flipping all the way up to the top of the roof and slam dunking it as hard as you can. Yeah, this game is classic. They redid it with the newer characters. Is still dope. That game is on Xbox as well. I'm not sure if it's available for PlayStation, but they definitely do have it with the newer characters. Not the I don't want to say newer. That sounds crazy. Yeah, but like the early 2000, mid 2000 superstars, Carmelo, LeBron, Dwayne Wade, Chris, all those guys, they got those guys. And it's super dope. It give you this feel, got the pushing and all of that. Man. This game is classic.
Yo, like absolute classic. But let's jump into the next game. Next game we talking about is a game that, man, I probably didn't even realize this game was a game probably until like when I got the Xbox, the OG Xbox. I think it was like 2004, 2005. So a little late. Like obviously, we had GameCube, and then we got the PlayStation 2, and then we got the original Xbox, right? So yeah. But when I got it, this game came with it with the copy I bought. It was in a bundle, so I was like, oh, it's probably one of those waggalo games that come with it. But nah, this was turned into one of my favorite games. Jet Set Radio Future. Now, I ended up going back and playing the game on a Dreamcast, the original one. But this turned into one of my favorite games, bro. It's so dope. It kind of showcases like what the Xbox was at the time in terms of the graphics and the way the games looked. It looked out of this world. I remember that. And like I said, I still have this game. It's one of those games that I still play every now and then just because it's still fun. Like I feel like games back in the day was just fun. And like games are fun now, but I feel like back in the day it was like make the games fun first and then we'll work on like the graphics and stuff. And I feel like now sometimes it's let's make the best looking game possible, but then
and worry about the rest later.
Right. And so this is one of my favorite. Xbox games of all time. Like, so what's your thoughts on Jet Set Radio Future?
Yo, I'm just glad to know I ain't the only one that didn't know this was a game. I ain't gonna lie. I thought this was like the commercial for Xbox. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know how Tsunami got the Tom, the robot. Well, had Tom the robot. I don't know if they still got him. Right. They had Tom the robot. I thought this was their mascot. You know what I mean? So like, I'm glad I ain't the only one. Right. Well, I thought when I was younger, as I got older, and I think this was on Game Pass at 1.2 if I'm not mistaken. Yep. And that's when I actually tried to play it. And I realized this game is kind of cool and also wacky. I really didn't understand the concept. You just grinding and running around, spray paint. It was kind of cool, but yeah, it's just not for me as far as like storyline go. I just couldn't get it. It was a little too wacky for me.
I got you.
I mean, but it's dope. It's dope, man. Though.
I love this game. Like I said, it kind of had like, somewhat of that bad boy persona because obviously you're going around, you're tagging things up. Graffiti, if you don't know what tagging is. Getting chased by the cops, you know what I mean? And then you start spraying the cops and stuff like that. But like, again, like you guys remember it's a Sega game. Like if you had the Dreamcast, you know what it is. But in the meantime, let's jump into the next game. Now, the next game is on a short list, and I mean a short list of one of my favorite sports games of all time. We're talking about MVP Baseball 2005. Now, it's funny because this is a time where we're coming off, the PlayStation, the Sega Saturn. So back then you had games like triple play baseball. You had a bunch of other baseball games. The mid 2000s where they started to kind of consolidate. You had EA who was making the MVP titles. You had 2K, which was making at the time the ESPN baseball, which ended up becoming, MLB 2K series. And then you start to have 989 Sports start to making their own PlayStation games like MLB 6. I'm sorry, MLB 06, which, that became the show, right?
Yeah.
So MVP Baseball is a game. I had the GameCube, of course. So I was, you know what? I want to play MVP Baseball. So I got it. I remember, I never forget, I traded it up a whole stack of games to GameStop, which I'm sure I got robbed.
Yeah. Nah, for sure. You absolutely got robbed. For sure.
Because I'm almost positive one of those games I traded in was Double Dash, which should have probably paid for the game by itself, but whatever. To each his own.
I'm sure they got that money for it though.
Right. So I ended up getting this game, man. I'm telling you, I had this game I think I traded this game in sometime around like 2009. You know what I mean? That's how much I played this game. It had a dynasty mode, owner mode. Yo, it had like a legend mode where you could play like all these classic games. It had classic teams. The franchise mode was dope. It had a lot of like stuff built into it. It was so dope that, and I'm a game collector, so I know folks are going to say, oh, whatever. But all three of the versions, PS2, Xbox, and GameCube, are slightly different. And when it came time to collect, not only did I buy all three versions, I played full franchise in all three versions. Like, this is my favorite baseball game of all time. It's probably like a top 3 sports favorite of all time, probably with this NBA Live 05 and NFL 2K5. That's probably my top 3 favorite sports games, but we're going to do a whole top 10 series on that, so don't even worry about that. MVP Baseball 2005, bro. Talk to me. Have you played it?
Yeah, I mean, I played MVP Baseball, but this is not something that I own. This is something I played at a friend's house. For me personally, I was more of a 2K baseball guy
2K
around
baseball. Gotcha.
At the time. You know what I'm saying? That was just me. I love their soundtrack and everything. But MVP Baseball is absolutely dope. I honestly thought this was the game that turned into the show. I didn't know that it was the other game, but you could kind of see. I mean, it looks like this is the game that would usher in the show. Looking at the graphics, I mean, Manny Ramirez almost looked like a pitcher, just a 3D version. You know what I'm saying? I like the mini games. Them joints is pretty cool. Yeah. Especially when it comes to something like baseball, when you need something to hold or grab an audience that you never had before. Right. And just playing the regular style baseball games could be a little, if you're casual, it could be a little boring at times. So if you got the mini games to hold you over, maybe, baseball games should go back to doing little mini games like this. Yeah. I think that'd be dope.
Yeah, man. And it was crazy. Like, I just remember in this game, just real quick, that I remember, like, if it was a big playoff game, it would like uptick the AI. So it's like, so let's say you got the Red Sox and you're playing the Yankees in New York. That game will be harder to win than if you're playing in Fenway. You know what I mean? They try to do like a thing for home field advantage and stuff like that. It was just so dope, man. Like, so much so is like, if I ever get the like hints to play an old school baseball game, I'll play this. I'll still play the triple plays and stuff like that. But this is like my favorite baseball game of all time. So shout out to that. Moving on to the next game is a game that, now, if you guys know me, there's only a few games that I really like talk shit in. Smash Bros is one of them. Like the classic wrestling games are one of them. Fight Night Round 3. Like, yo.
This was my boy.
So, shit talk aside, I remember when I first saw this. I saw this game at Kmart when they had like the little trailer on the demo disc for the 360, right? And when I first saw this game, bro, it was my first like foray into like quote unquote at the time next gen graphics, right? And I remember being like, yo, this game looks so realistic, you know what I mean? And even now the graphics still hold up. But when I first got this game, was playing this game, bro, oh my God, from the soundtrack to the career mode to just playing against friends and stuff like that, this is like literally one of the best games of all time in terms of just like being able to replay it or play with friends or play all by yourself. I love this game. There was some cheat codes in the game in terms of people you can't pick. But nah, bro. Fight Night Round 3, talk to me.
Man, this is bring a bunch of memories. Fight Night is just a game that was like, very heavily played in the barbershops, in the communities that I grew up in. And I was some sort of a champ in the barbershops, you know what I mean?
No doubt.
Obviously, when you get online, it's a different story because these dudes be cheating. I'm going to be honest. They be cheating. Or it could be I'm just not that good. I'd rather say they cheating, though.
Right.
I'm saying? But yeah, this game is super dope, man. It still looks dope. I would still play it.
Yes,
Fight
sir.
Night, come out with another game.
Yes.
We need you.
Yes.
We do. We need some good boxing. I've been paying attention to that Boxing Club game, but man, Fight Night need to come out with another game.
Yeah, we need a real deal one. But
I love the way to,
No. I was gonna say I hope so too. But then again, you know how the state of boxing is right now. That's probably why they moved on to making the UFC games instead. But I hope they do bring it back.
Yeah, the state of boxing is something horrendous. Yeah, I don't even want to talk about that right now. But back to the game though, the smooth way they transitioned from the buttons to the stick was so smooth, man. It's probably the only game that I've played that done that I didn't just say F the transition.
Right.
For example, baseball have tried to do the same thing, and I said F the transition. I'd rather use the buttons.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it's other games like that, but this game did it very well.
Yeah, it did.
And yeah, this is super dope. Yeah, they need to come out with another game. That's the last thing I'm saying. Come out with another game. I don't got nothing else to say. Come out with another game.
Yo, the last thing I'm gonna say in regards to Fight Night, there ain't too many things in video game history that's a greater satisfaction than when you knock somebody out in Fight Night.
Facts.
Yo, that's I'm gonna leave it there at that. But
you should just press the replay button over and over again.
Yes.
That make it worse.
Oh my God. And then they get tight and walk out the room, right?
Talking crazy.
Right. Oh man.
Yeah, it's just the best.
But that's all we got for this week in gaming. Next week, of course, we'll have some more heat to talk about. It's just crazy because we're cycling through. You know what I mean? We're cycling through now. So like, there's a whole other slew of games that was left off of last year that we'll do this year, which is crazy to even think about, right? But for right now, let's jump right on in.
Think about us going to the new year.
I know, right? It's crazy. Let's jump into industry news, and the first thing we're talking about is Nintendo. It's kind of in some hot water right now with its supporters, as they are closing the eShop for the Wii U and the 3DS. Now, there's a whole thing where Nintendo posted out a initial frequently asked questions about, what's going to be accessed, what's not. Any game you purchased, you're still going to have access to, but starting next year, you're not going to be able to access like the DLC and stuff like that, which is kind of problematic because a lot of those games kind of need the DLC. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's one reason why they got upset. And another reason they got upset is because the Wii U has a virtual console. So you can go in and buy a bunch of games. Now, some people may think, well, what if they just port all those games over to the Switch? Yeah, in that same notice that Nintendo put out, they basically said, nah, that wasn't happening. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people are like, hold on, what happened if the virtual console, which runs off the internet, is not available? How am I going to be able to play my games? Nintendo has yet to have an answer for it, which is tough. And the 3DS, now I get it. The Switch is a hybrid console. You can play it handheld or you can dock it to the TV. The 3DS is a handheld console. You know what I mean? And because the 3DS can connect to the internet, a lot of games like the Pokemon games and stuff like that, they have DLC that won't be able to be accessed anymore. So that's kind of tough. Crazy. I thought, and it's crazy because as Nintendo right now is gearing up to have a massive year just in terms of their games coming out and things like that, this is kind of a setback because even though this doesn't take place till next year, but a lot of fans right now are really upset with Nintendo about it. And I get it. Now, does it really affect me? No, because although I have the Wii U, I didn't really get into it. And I have a 3DS, but I didn't really get into it as much. So it doesn't affect me personally, but I get it. Because if you dump money into a lot of these things, like picture us, dumping all this money into Game Pass and not being able to access the games. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I get it. Nintendo, they can fix it just by either prolonging it like PlayStation did with the Vita, or they can find ways for them to be able to still access all of their things that they paid for. So we'll see with that. I just wanted to get your thoughts on that because this is like a really hot topic going on right now. And ever since that initial statement, Nintendo has said nothing.
I mean, I'm gonna play both sides of the fence on this one because I can understand both sides of it. You feel me? As a fan, I get it. You want access to everything that you purchased. You get what I'm saying? Who wouldn't want access to what they purchased? But on the other side of things, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
when you are a company that likes to progress and make newer systems and newer handheld consoles and newer home consoles, right? At some point, you can't keep pouring resources into the older models,
right?
Like when Xbox, I mean, at some point, Xbox One is not going to be able to access everything that it has access to right now. And I mean, obviously it's going to be a problem to the fans that can't afford to keep up with the gaming industry. But I mean, at some point the gaming industry got to keep advancing. They cannot stick with the fans because, the fans is always the younger generation, is never the people that's grown with you. You get me? You got to go after their kids at some point. That sounds crazy, but that's the truth. And then you gotta go after their kids. So like, hey, I mean, I'm sorry, but tough luck. That's harsh, but that's for real. They go get a Switch. They got the DLCs over there. For some of it. I mean, that's just that's the harsh reality. I know everybody can't afford it, and that's some crazy shit to say, but that's pretty much how the gaming industry got to look at it, man.
Yeah. I'm not going to say the Wii U was a flop because if you look at the numbers, it didn't flop, right? But in terms of the eShop, the Wii U is actually thriving, and so in the 3DS is one of the highest selling consoles of all time. It's probably top 2 highest selling handhelds of all time. But that eShop is thriving too, so I'm questioning as to why. Because Nintendo said them closing it down doesn't have anything to do with money. Now, I would be interested to see if it has something to do with them trying to port everything over to the Switch to make them buy a Switch. But they said that wasn't the case. So I guess we'll see what happens with it. I guess we'll pick this back up when Nintendo says something.
Let me ask you a question. Isn't PlayStation 2 the highest selling PlayStation console of all times?
Yeah.
Are they still making internet anything for PlayStation 2 right now?
No, they stopped in 2018, no.
Yeah, they not. Yeah, so like that don't work. You still got to progress past that. You got to try to sell another console more than the one that just sold the most.
Right.
So like I get it that they sold the most 3D this, you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Handheld consoles, but like at the same time, they're trying to do that with the Switch.
Yeah.
So go put that in the corner and come cop the Switch because that's what they try to tell you to do with this move.
Yeah, I get it. I just, at times I tend to be pro player, and I just think that if they're trying to get everybody to the Switch, the easiest way to lure them over is to say, hey, you want to play all of your shit? Come play it on the Switch. But if they're saying they're not going to do that, then now all of a sudden, okay, what's going to happen? Especially if people who bought things this year, because make no mistake about it, they are still pushing their eShops like, yo, buy this, buy that, buy this, buy that. So it's kind of a conflict of interest. But I guess we'll pick it up when Nintendo makes another official announcement because they're being hounded right now.
Yeah, I would understand. I expected that. Yeah.
So the next thing we're talking about briefly is EA. They partially blame Battlefield 2042's failure on Halo. Now, EA put out a bunch of reasons as to why the game failed. There's no debate on whether or not it failed. It completely failed. Now they're even talking about having it free to play, which a lot of people was like, yo, if I spent the $70 on it, what's up? And they said they're going to try to make amends to them. I don't know if it's give them money back or gives them, like a gift card to whatever, or a Game Pass, because obviously they're affiliated with Game Pass or whatever. But one of the reasons why they said it flopped was just because due to the success of Halo. And
Halo's free to play.
Right. And that's what they were saying. It was like, well, everybody was playing Halo because it's free to play, right? Instead of paying the $70. And a lot of people was like, that got to be the biggest cop out. Now, we'll say full disclosure, EA is saying that's not what they said. It was taken out of context, right? And I can see both sides. I can see how I don't have the official statement because it kind of disappeared, which, it's kind of weird within itself. But we definitely could touch upon it next week. But I can see how on one hand, they did mention Halo. I like that is factual. But they kind of said, well, with other games like Halo, but they didn't mention no other games. They just said with other games like Halo being free to play, it kind of gave us like a leg down. But the problem with Battlefield 2042 was somebody who played it, it was glitchy, it was buggy. The modes weren't quite there. The lack of a campaign mode, which, like I said, a lot of people think we could drop the campaign mode in these games, but there's a lot of players who buy it just for that. Not everybody's an online gamer.
That's true.
So, what's your thoughts on that, man? Like, I get it. And Halo, like I said, we're not dumb. Halo is a juggernaut franchise. We do understand that, but it ain't making your game flop.
We understand that.
Yeah.
Do they understand that? Because, like, what did you think was going to happen?
Right.
That's like, freaking, I can't even think of a little hip hop artist thinking they're going to drop the same day as Kanye West and then be mad blaming Kanye West. Like, no, it's your fault.
Right.
Especially when you knew Kanye West was going to drop his album for free.
Yep. And you dropped the same month.
Knew they going to drop for free. They've been saying they dropping for free. Why would you not even attempt to match that? And there's ways you can make that money. You could drop. I mean, that you supposedly losing through like cosmetics and other stuff. Like, so I don't know why you don't start there. I don't know, man. They set themselves up. I don't feel no sort of way for them. Like, you set yourself up. You knew better. What you thought? Because Halo didn't drop for years, that you gonna just outdo them? Right. No, you think somebody gonna go ahead and test GTA when they decide to drop 6 in 20 years? No, they're not.
Right. And like, to me, the wildest part about that entire thing is like, you still dropped the same week as COD. So yes, Halo's launch was technically, when they launched the multiplayer, was technically a surprise launch. That is true. But you still was dropping the week of COD, and it was still with a flop because the numbers pales in comparison to Vanguard. So,
and you did that too. That was doubly stupid.
Right. And with all that said, the game was buggy, glitchy, and everything. So, like, people like me who have friends who played it. Now, granted, I played it because I had the 10-hour trial through Game Pass with the access. But at that point, my friends were already telling me, who made the mistake and bought the game, that the game was bad. So I checked it out just so, because, I'm going to check it out on my own, and all that. But if I had to pay the $70 for it, I wouldn't have. So I get why people's not playing the game. If they make it free to play or just absorb it into Game Pass, maybe folks will play it if they fixed it. But at that point, you ain't getting sales off it like that no more. And it's already a lost cause. And that's kind of what they alluded to. But
you get a percentage, though.
Yeah.
Better
than nothing.
Trashing your game.
Right. But, the next quick thing we're going to talk about, and this is like brand new, so we're going to touch more upon it next week. We promise, is that Call of Duty will be skipping a year in 2023. So this year, of course, Modern Warfare, which as of right now, the working title is Modern Warfare 2, will drop this November. But after that, in 2023, there will be no Call of Duty game. And obviously, as we know, Activision Blizzard is set to be merged into Microsoft next year. And a lot of people have been speculating what COD would look like next year. And we got the answer. It will look like Modern Warfare 2. like there will be no COD next year. And I know some people are already upset on Twitter. I personally think it's a good thing. I think everything, whether it's Call of Duty, whether it's Madden, NBA 2K, the WWE game. Perfect example, the WWE game this year for 2K22, which is out in a week and a half, is so hype right now because there was no game last year. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So they had a chance to redo everything, put all these new things in the game, update the graphics for current gen now, and do all these things because they were able to take a year off. So that crunch culture, it wasn't there. And now, granted, the game is not out yet, so we can't say if it's better or not. But at the same time, I haven't seen hype like this for a wrestling game in a long time. You know what I mean? So, and I think COD's going to sell regardless. It's going to be one of the top selling games every year regardless. Now, imagine what's going to be like in 2024. And it's Treyarch's turn. So when Treyarch in 2024 makes that game, and that game is set to drop it's going to do
They ain't
stupid
got
numbers.
no excuse to drop no hard garbage, bro.
Right. Because you
They
got
drop
all
some
this
hard
time.
garbage. I'm gonna be so mad. I'm gonna go crazy on a podcast on Treyarch, bro. I don't.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So I mean, again, like in terms like official statements and stuff like that, we'll cover all that next week. I just wanted to get your initial thoughts on that.
I mean, I'm happy.
Yeah,
they need to take a break. Like I said, Treyarch haven't been doing a great job in the past couple of go rounds. I ain't gonna kick a dead horse. You know what I mean? I done pretty much explained my absolute displeasure with what they've been putting out. Right. So hopefully this is gonna lead them to putting out some great stuff, especially since that could also give them sometimes bounce ideas with each other teams, because I don't see why they wouldn't. They kind of on the same team, they just in separate buildings, right, and putting under different titles. So hopefully they could figure that out and give us some better quality games and give us some fresher ideas. Yeah, because that's really what it is. We need some new ideas. We warred out. Go make up a war. We'll make up a war, man. You know what I'm saying? We'll make up a war.
Yeah, so we'll jump right into that next week when we'll cover that under industry news next week. But that's all we got for industry news this week. Well, let's jump right into topics. And the first topic, of course, we're doing our Black people in gaming, which is, I believe this is the last week of that. But we'll cover that going forward more and more. For this week, I'll go first. Mine is Alicia Wonder Woman, in quotes, Washington. I'm not actually doing Wonder Woman, right? But to gaming, she's Wonder Woman because she helped invent the PCB, the printed circuit boards that are in our arcade games, like the old school ones. And that allowed for a lot of our favorite games. You take your pick: NBA Jam, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Pong, Pac-Man. Take your pick of any arcade game. That's what helped make those cabinets for us to play these games. And it was an African-American woman. A lot of people may not have known that. I only knew that because I saw a documentary. And the documentary, I had to search for it. So it wasn't like, you know what I mean? It wasn't like it was a big Netflix production, that kind of, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
but I just happened to see it and I watched it. I was like, oh, I didn't even notice that was dope. Well, so I wanted to highlight her. It's dope. Literally, you can make the case to spawn gaming, because without the arcades, how many kids are going home like, I want a Nintendo, I want to Sega.
Arcades was the spot. That was our social network right there.
The spot,
literally, right. That was our social networking right there.
So I just want to say shout out, because, like I said, I know for me, going to the arcades back in the day, like I could remember, like right now I could close my eyes and visualize going to arcades and the lights and playing these games, putting the damn tokens in or the quarters and stuff like that. So I wanted to shout out to her. I'm calling her Wonder Woman of gaming. So that's mine, man. What's yours?
All right. So mine's go out to another beautiful young, I don't know how old she is. Young to me. Right. Young Black lady in gaming. Okay. Tanya Day Pass. I hope to God I said your name correctly. She was the founder of and director of Need Diverse Gaming, which is a non-profit organization that puts gamers of colors out in the forefront, gamers and creators of colors. Yes. Color in the forefront. She also founded and also is the chief editor of a podcast, and it's called Fresh Out of Tokens podcast. Shout out. I'm not sure what platforms though her podcast is on, but I'm pretty sure it's on all platforms. Yep. So if you want to go check her podcast out anywhere you listen to podcasts or watch, I'm not sure about watch, but listen to podcasts. Go ahead and check her out. No doubt. Fresh Out of Tokens podcast again. All right. She the creative director of CyberCode LLC and serves as diversity liaison for GamerX. So she has a lot of, she does a lot of advocating for gamers of colors, creators of colors, and she got her hands on a lot of different projects, very busy. And obviously there's not a ton of black people that we're going to be able to highlight because they only make up about 5% of the industry.
Yes.
But we're going to keep on digging and searching,
of course,
and pushing them out and highlighting them and giving them the love that they deserve for putting in some sort of work in an industry that a lot of us love, but a few of us actually get to put our imprint on. So shout out to Tanya Day. Ooh, let me make sure I say your last name correctly.
Let's get it right.
Yeah, Tanya Day Pass. Definitely got to get it right. So shout out to Tanya Day Pass.
Shout out.
Yeah.
What's the podcast again? Just so folks can go check it out.
Fresh Out of Tokens.
Fresh Out of Tokens. All right.
Fresh Out of Tokens podcast.
No doubt.
Make sure y'all check that out, man.
No doubt. Yo, that's all we got for topics. Let's jump right into One Gotta Go or Game Versus. This week is my week, so let's take it right away, man. So this week we doing straight up game versus, literally 1v1. You know what I mean? Just like when you when you need to settle a score, right? 1v1. So we going just because, you know, it's one of my favorite, well, two of my favorites, but obviously I'm sure it's two of yours as well. We going NBA Jam Tournament Edition, versus NBA Street Volume 2.
Oh man. the only thing that make this a hard answer is the fact that both of those things was like very, very, very like integral parts of my childhood. Like those was escape games for me. You feel what I'm saying? I had a few of those, but as far as sports games go, like my early childhood and I want to say adolescent years for NBA Street Volume 2, those are really like dominant games. But I gotta say NBA Streets Volume 2, man. That game is just super dope, like super dope.
Okay.
It was, I mean, obviously they had the first Streets, but when they kicked it up a notch with Streets Volume 2, the double game breakers, and that game was just so fire with bringing the NBA game to the actual streets, which to me was a major step up from what NBA Jam I felt was trying to do, but really didn't have the vision for.
Right.
So that's why I'm choosing NBA Street, because they took the vision that they had but couldn't put it on the game and actually put it on the game. Like, that's what I felt.
Yeah.
Right, so Volume 2 all day.
So I actually agree, and I thought of this question because I literally was watching a commercial last night that I posted on the podcast for NBA Live 98. I was just like, damn, I'm thinking back to the games, right? And then I was like, oh yeah, NBA Jam, of course, dropped around this time. So I was like, all right, bet. So then I was like, you know what? NBA Jam, Streets, and NFL Blitz are like those three games that like they're not simulation games, but I could not stop playing. But then I was like, if I had to pick between NBA Jam or NBA Streets, which would I pick? So the benefits of being a collector, I played both of them. So I played just like one quick game each, right? And I was just like, and it's crazy because when I was playing it, NBA Jam, it made me think of the arcade, right? But when I was playing NBA Street Volume 2, I just had like a wave of nostalgia from playing with my friends to playing against my brothers to playing against the computer, right? To playing against Stretch, right? And then having my pops walk in. What you know about Dr. J? What you know about? I mean, just a lot of like nostalgia, and of course the soundtrack, of course. So I got to go Streets Volume 2 as well. I agree with you. But
and you can actually pick Michael Jordan.
Yeah, right. Which
you couldn't pick Michael Jordan.
I'm telling you, the youngins don't know. It was hard to play as Michael Jordan in anything back in the day.
You couldn't beat
mean?
Michael Jordan in nothing.
Right. That man wanted too much money. Right. He wanted too much money for everything, and that's why he's at the state he is at now. Like,
wait, I think it was player 45 or 99. I think he was both of them.
I think he was both. Yeah. Listen,
he was just a number.
Right.
Like.
Yeah, man. But yeah, yo, that's all we got for this week's episode. Of course, I appreciate all the support. As you guys know, it goes a long way. Love to chop it up with you guys as well. The Grand Theft Auto jokes be hilarious. I'm not gonna lie. Talking about the opposite of crunch culture, right?
That's the most relaxed culture ever. You want to make sure you can take your time making a game. Go over to Rockstar.
Word.
They lounge is for real. It's a bed. The whole lounge is just a bed.
Word. But of course, if you guys want to share the show, which we encourage you to do, please just direct everybody to pastthe6pod.com. Of course, that's where you can find everything we do, including Tsunamic Wave stream. Watch him stream, especially stream that new game. The name of the game is called the one that we both played.
Oh, man, I just forgot.
Oh,
I told you I'm foggy for the. Hey, I'm foggy. It's my birthday. Hey, I'm still celebrating my birthday. I'm foggy, right, man. You know what I'm saying? I forgot. Something with the neighbors. Man, listen, Jay, don't get me the line. I don't want a lot of these people. I forgot.
Oh man, hold on. Now we gonna do this in live time. No.
Yeah. Hey, all right. So listen, I'm gonna say my goodbyes while he find it. All right. So like Jay said, you feel me? If you want to find out anything we do or support anything we do, which is very free, by the way.
Yes, sir.
It don't cost to support anything we do. Read our stuff, like our stuff, share our stuff. You can find it all at Pass the Sticks Pod. That's Pass, PASS Sticks, STICK, pod, POD.com, COM. All right. Yeah, go check us out. Shout out to Tanya Day Pass.
Yes, sir.
Go check out her podcast as well. It's called Fresh Out of Tokens Podcast, which is a dope name, by the way.
Yes, sir.
Especially since, you never want to do that, running out of tokens. So, yeah, go check her out. Thanks for the love and the support from everybody, and enjoy your nights. Peace and love. What's the game, Jay?
I can't find it.
It's called The Last Kids on Earth. The Last Kids on Earth.
The Last Kids on Earth and the Staff of Doom. We out. Peace.
Peace, the longest outro ever.
I know, right?